every Rainbow Magic Book Club member, and welcome to my first ever live stream. And today I am going to be reading Goldie the Sunshine Fairy. She is book number 11. She's the 11th ever Rainbow Magic book. And I'm going to be reading her. So this is what the cover looks like. It's got the Rainbow Magic logo. And Goldie's actually sitting on the rainbow. How cute. And it says Goldie the Sunshine Fairy. And then it says the Weather Fairies, Daisy Meadows. There's Goldie. So cute. Let's read the back of the book. It says, Goldie the Sunshine Fairy is all hot and bothered without her shimmery sunshine feather. Can Rachel and Kirsty seek it out and put a stop to a sticky situation? There's a magic feather in each Rainbow Magic story. Help the girls to collect them all and restore the weather to fairyland. Ooh. So we're not going to read the Jack Frost spell or the map because we did that in the beginning of the Weather Fairy series. And just to let you know, guys, in literally every single page in this book, I coloured it in. But that would have been years and years and years ago, probably when I was like 8 or 9. So let's start to read Goldie the Sunshine Fairy from Chapter 1, A Sunny Spell. It feels as if I'm about to melt, said Rachel Walker happily. It was a hot summer afternoon, and she and her friend Kirsty Tate were enjoying the sunshine in Kirsty's back garden. A bumblebee buzzed lazily around Mrs. Tate's sunflower, and a single breath of wind whisked through the yellow rose bush. And look, I coloured in the sunflower and the circle bit for number 9. Oh, more colouring in here on page 10. So it says, the weather has been so warm and sunny, Mr. and Mrs. Tate had given the girls permission to camp out in the garden that night. Kirsty looked up from a jumble of tent poles and bright orange material she was sorting through. It's been a perfect day, she agreed. Let's hope tonight is perfect too. I don't fancy lying out here in the rain, do you? Rachel laughed and started untangling tent pegs with her friend. I think I'd rather have a shower in the morning, not in the middle of the night, she agreed. And look, I coloured in Kirsty's dad. Kirsty held up some poles. Right, how do we put this thing together then? She asked brightly. Rachel scratched her head. Well, she began. Need some help? Came a voice from behind them. Dad, said Kirsty in relief. Yes, please, we... She burst out laughing as she looked at her father. Rachel turned to see what was so funny. She had to bite her lip not to laugh too, for there, standing in front of them, was Mr. Tate, wearing the most enormous sunglasses she had ever seen. Mr. Tate was looking very pleased. He waggled his glasses up and down on his nose. Do you like my new shade? He asked. Well, yes, Kirsty said, trying to keep a straight face. They're very summery. Mr. Tate knelt down and started putting the tent together. The weather has been strange all week. I didn't know whether to buy them or not, he said. I hope it doesn't start snowing again. And I coloured in this picture too. Rachel and Kirsty looked at each other but didn't say anything. They shared a very special secret. They knew exactly why the weather had been so strange. Jack Frost had been messing it all up. Doodle, the fairy weather vane cockerel, usually looked after the weather with his 7 magic tail feathers. But Jack Frost cast a spell to make his goblin servants bigger and sent them to steal Doodle's feather. Without them, the weather had gone completely haywire. Rachel and Kirsty were helping the Weather Fairies to get them back, but until that time, Doodle was just an ordinary iron weather vane on top of the Tate's barn. Yesterday, with the help of Pearl the Cloud Fairy, Kirsty and Rachel had returned the cloud feather to Doodle, but there were still 4 feathers left to find. There, said Mr. Tate, stepping back and admiring the finished tent. It's all yours. Thanks, Dad, Kirsty said as he walked away. She put 2 sleeping bags inside the tent and then flopped down on the grass. Phew, she whistled. It's still so hot. I hope it cools down soon. I will never be able to sleep in there. Rachel was frowning and looking at her watch. Kirsty, she said slowly, have you noticed where the sun is? Kirsty looked up and pointed. Right there in the sky, she replied helpfully. Yes, but look how high it is, Rachel insisted. It hasn't even started setting yet. Kirsty glanced at her watch. But it's 7:30, she said. Now she was frowning too. So that can't be right. Rachel had just opened her mouth to reply when suddenly there was a loud pop. What's that? She whispered. Pop, pop, pop. It sounds like it's coming from the other side of the hedge, Rachel answered, her eyes wide. But there's only a cornfield over there. Pop, pop, pop. Curiously, the girls peeped over the hedge to see what was making all that noise, and they both gasped out loud. Chapter 2, Goldie Drops In. I don't believe it, Kirsty said, rubbing her eyes. Is that what I think it is? Pop, pop, pop. Rachel nodded. Popcorn, she breathed. It was an amazing sight. The sun was so hot that the corn in the field was literally cooking and turning into popcorn. Both girls stared as golden puffs of corn bounced everywhere. It was just as if the field was one enormous saucepan. A delicious smell of popcorn drifted over the hedge, and both girls sniffed hungrily. Kirsty and Rachel looked at each other and grinned. There's definitely magic in the air, Kirsty said. It must be the goblins with the sunshine feather, Rachel agreed, feeling her heart beat faster with excitement. Both girls peered hard at the field, hoping to spot a goblin lurking somewhere, but it was difficult to see clearly through the blizzard of popcorn. It was still tumbling and twirling in the sky like a sandstorm. Rachel suddenly grabbed Kirsty's hand. Look, she cried. Kirsty stared. Darting above the corn was a twinkling yellow light. It was zigzagging through the air between the flying pieces of popcorn and headed straight towards them. As it came closer, the air above the field seemed to glitter with 1,000 tiny sparkles. Both girls could see a pair of delicate golden wings beneath wings beating quickly and the glimmer of a tiny wand. It's Goldie the It's Goldie the Sunshine Fairy, whispered Rachel in delight. They held their breath as the fairy weaved in and out of the bouncing corn, neatly dodging each piece. Then she swooped down to land on the hedge in front of them. Phew! She laughed. Talk about a bumpy ride. And there we go. I tried to colour in Goldie. Did a good job there when I was younger. Kirsty and Rachel watched as Goldie shook popcorn dust from her glittering golden edged wings. Her face was framed by long curly blonde hair, and she wore a gauzy dress in the fiery reds, yellow, and oranges. A tiny gold tiara glinted in her hair, and shiny red bangles glimmered on her wrists. "Hello again," said Goldie. "I've been hearing about how you've helped Crystal, Abigail, and Pearl. You've done brilliantly." Rachel and Kirsty grinned at each other proudly. "The goblins who have the sunshine feather can't be far away," Goldie went on, looking up at the sky where the sun was still blazing as brightly as ever. "Good idea," Goldie replied cheerfully, but then her face fell as she looked at the cornfield again. Popcorn was still whizzing around like hot white missiles. Sorry if I read that wrong. Is there any other way across the field, though? Chapter 3, Goblin on the Loose. Oh, it's a dead flower. Goblin. Goldie sighed. "I don't fancy dodging that popcorn again," she said. She leaned back to examine a scorch mark on her face, on her wings. "It's almost burning myself." "There's a lane that runs down the side of the field to the farm," Kirsty told her. "We'll ask Mum if we can go for a quick walk before bedtime." Whoa. Minutes later, the three of them were on their way. The air was practically shimmering with heat. There were cracks in the ground where the earth had become hardened by the sun. Flowers wilted in the hedgerow, and the grass was turning dry and brown. There wasn't even the slightest gasp of wind now. Once they reached the farm, the girls and Goldie started searching for the goblin, and they looked extremely sweaty. First they peeped into the stables. Two very hot-looking horses were sheltering from the sun. "Hello," Goldie said. "I don't suppose you've seen a goblin hanging around, have you?" One of the horses shook her mane. All we've seen is the stable," she said, "and there are no goblins in here." "It's too hot to go out," the other horse whined. Next, the girls and Goldie slipped into the cowshed. The cows were all half asleep in the heat and quite grumpy at being disturbed. There was no goblins, at least. The three friends came to the duck pond. They wondered if the goblins might be cooling off in the water, but there was no sign of him or the sunshine feather. "You should ask the pigs," a duck quacked helpfully from a shady spot in the reeds. They've, they've been grumbling all day about something or other, and pigs are noisy. If there's a goblin on the farm, they'll know about it." Goldie thanked the duck politely. "I think I can hear pigs over here," Rachel said, leading the way around the side of the farmhouse. Soon they could all hear grunting. The duck was right. The pigs seemed very upset about something. They all turned to look curiously at Goldie, though, when she flew to speak to them. Goldie fluttered down to perch on the biggest pig's snout. "What's the problem?" she asked kindly. The pig squinted at the golden fairy in front of his little blue eyes. "It's like this," he began in a cross, squeaky kind of voice. "It's been so hot that the farmer topped up the mud hole with water so that the pigs could keep nice and cool." He twitched his ears indignantly. Sorry if I read that wrong. But someone else's paint starts spotting the mud, and he won't let us in. "It's not fair," a piglet squealed, running up to Rachel and Kirsty. "It's not fair." Ooh, it must be a goblin. It certainly isn't, Kirsty agreed, giving him a pat. It sounds like just the kind of trick a goblin would play. Rachel pointed out, "Where is the mud hole?" The pigs gave directions, and the girls set off with Goldie, flying above their heads. Rachel crossed her fingers. She felt quite sure that they would find the goblin in the mud. Who else would be mean enough to stop the pigs from wallowing in their own mud pool? They hadn't been walking for very long when they heard someone singing in a croaky, tuneless voice. "I've been having so much fun blasting out in the golden sun. It's roasting, toasting, popcorn weather. Oh, how I love my sunshine feather." I just made up the tune just to let you know. So sorry if I sounded silly, because that song really was silly. Kirsty, Rachel, and Goldie dived behind a nearby tree at once and carefully peeped out. There, right in the middle of the mud hole, covered in thick, wet mud, was an extremely cheerful goblin. He waved the sunshine feather in the air as he sang, and each time it moved, the golden sunbeams floated from its tip, making the air feel even hotter. When he got to the end of his song, he started all over again, splashing his feet in the mud in time to the words, "I've been having so much fun." "What shall we do?" Kirsty whispered. The goblin the goblin was holding the feather so tightly it looked like it would be impossible for him. It would be possible to take it from him. Goldie twirled around in frustration. "I hate seeing him with my sunshine feather," she muttered, folding her arms across her chest. "It looks like he's got it all muddy." Rachel frowned. "Maybe we could distract him somehow, then dash over and grab the feather while he's looking the other way." "I don't fancy dashing through all that slippery mud," Kirsty said quietly, eyeing it doubtfully. We'll probably fall over. And look, he's right in the middle of it. He'll be able to spot us coming way before we get there." They drew further away from the mud hole so that they could discuss their next move without fear of the goblin overhearing. After a few minutes, Rachel held up a hand. "Shh, what's that noise?" chased an alarm. And I can't remember. I think this is chapter 4. Let me just quickly look. Yep, chapter 4. Bamboozled a goblin. Kirsty, Rachel, and Goldie held their breath as they listened to the strange new sound. It was a loud, wheezing, rumbling kind of noise, somewhere between a grunt and a hiss. Grumble, shh! It went grumble, shh! Grumble, shh! It was coming from the direction of the mud hole. Kirsty and Rachel crept back to the tree and peeped out from behind it, wondering what sort of terrifying creature they were going to see. When Rachel saw what was making the noise through, she had to clasp her hand over her mouth to stop herself laughing out too loud. The wheezing, rumbling was nothing more than the goblin snoring. Goldie fluttered her wings hopefully when she saw the goblin was asleep, and she flew a little closer to the sunshine feather. But her face fell when she saw just how tightly the goblin was clutching the feather to his chest in his sleep. She flew back to the girls, shaking her head. "If I try and pull it out of his grasp, he'll sure to wake up," she told them. "How are we going to get the feather?" A smile appeared on Kirsty's face. "Maybe we could," she began thoughtfully. Then she grinned broadly. "Yes, that could work," she declared. Without another word, she began running back towards her house. "Back in a minute," she called over her shoulder. Rachel and Goldie watched her go. They were both dying to know what Kirsty was up to. Luckily, they didn't have to wait too long for her to return, and when she came back, she looked quite different. What is she wearing? Goldie murmured to Rachel as he saw Kirsty running towards him. Her dad's sunglasses, she replied, staring at her friend with great interest. She was starting to wonder if Kirsty had been in the sun for too long. Why had she brought the enormous sunglasses with her? And why was she carrying a fishing rod? Kirsty grinned at the confused expression on their faces. I'll explain everything, she promised, reaching up to rest the fishing rod in the tree. First we need to shrink to fairy size. Whoops! Sorry, the tripod fell. Whoops. I didn't mean for the tripod to fall. First, we need to shrink to fairy size. Rachel, both Kirsty and Rachel had been given beautiful lockets by the Fairy Queen. Inside each locket was magical fairy dust. A tiny pinch of sparkling dust was enough to turn the girls into fairies in the twinkling of an eye. Kirsty and Rachel sprinkled themselves with fairy dust. It glittered a bright sunshine yellow in delight, and then whoosh! They were getting smaller and smaller and smaller. The tree next to them became enormous, and the girls shrank to the size of Goldie. Kirsty and Rachel fluttered their wings in delight. They both loved being fairies. Now then, Kirsty said, flying up to the tree, I'll tell you my plan. They all perched by the fishing rod, and Goldie and Rachel watched as Kirsty nibbled her fingers, balancing the sunglasses on the end of the fishing hook. We're going to let the fishing line out slowly, Kirsty told them quietly, and lower the sunglasses onto the goblin's nose. Why? Rachel wanted to know. Do you think they'll suit him? Goldie asked. Kirsty shook her head, trying not to laugh. With sunglasses on, everything will look dark to him, she whispered. With a bit of luck, he'll think the sunshine feather has broken. Goldie clasped her hands in delight. Oh, what a good idea, she cried. I do love to play tricks on those mean old goblins. Very carefully, Kirsty, Rachel, and Goldie turned the wheel of the fishing rod and lowered the sunglasses all the way down to the goblin. Kirsty held her breath as the sunglasses landed right on the end of his nose. Perfect! Goldie waved her wand to release a stream of magical, sunny fairy dust. Little golden sparkles fizzed and popped like firecrackers around the goblin's head until he woke with a start. He opened his eyes and blinked when he saw that everything seemed to have been going dark. My feather is broken, he moaned, giving a shake. Shine, you stupid sun, he commanded. Of course, the sunshine feather wasn't broken at all. As the goblin shook it, the sun shone more. Sorry about this, everyone. My tripod was falling. That is not good. This is my first live stream on Rainbow Magic Book Club, so sorry about all of this. Of course, the sunshine feather wasn't broken at all. As soon as the goblin shook it, the sun shone more brilliantly than ever. But as far as the goblin could see, the world remained in darkness. He waved the feather again. I said, shine, he ordered in frustration. The sun shone obediently, as if it was the middle of the day, but the goblin could see no change. Twice more he shook the feather, and twice more the sun shone hotter and brighter. But though the sunglass but through the sunglasses, the goblin saw only twilight. As far as he knew, the sunshine feather would have no effect. Broken! The goblin finally announced crossly as he threw the feather away in disgust. Goldie shot out of the tree at once, like a little golden firework. While the goblin was still muttering gloomily to himself, Goldie swooped down and grabbed the feather. Thank you, she sang happily, hugging it tightly as she flew back to the girls. Kirsty's plan had worked. With another sprinkle of fairy dust, Rachel and Kirsty turned themselves human again and started scrambling down from the tree with the fishing rod. The goblin spotted them and jumped to his feet. As he did so, the sunglasses bumped off his nose. Sunglasses? He exclaimed, shouting puzzled as he reached up to grab the glasses. He pushed them on the top of his head and peered at the girls, blinking in the dazzling sunlight. You tricked me! He yelled in fury when he saw Goldie clutching the sunshine feather. Come back with the feather! He looks very angry. Kirsty and Rachel looked at each other fearfully. Now that Jack Frost goblins are so big, they seemed more scary than ever. And this one looked very angry at having been outwitted. He shook his fist and ran straight towards the girls. Run! Shouted Kirsty. Ooh. Let's see. We are on chapter, is it 5 or 6? Chapter 5, Happy Pigs. Look at those pigs. They do seem to look very happy. Rachel grabbed Kirsty's hand as they both ran towards the farmhouse as fast as they could. The goblin was right behind them, making a horrible growling sound in his throat. Give me back the feather! Give it back! He screamed angrily. Rachel's heart thumped painfully in her chest as she ran. The goblin was closing on them. She could hear his breathing, hoarse and ragged. The goblin stretched out his hand to grab her, and she gasped as she felt his fingertips brush her shoulder. Got you, he began. Then his voice turned from angry to confusion. Hey, what's happening? With a swirl of dancing sunbeams, Goldie waved the sunshine feather and pointed it straight to the goblin. At once, the sun beat down fiercely upon him, and the thick mud that smoothed him started drying rapidly. As his legs became stiff and heavy with the sulfying mud, the goblin slowed. Then, as the mud set hard, the goblin found he couldn't move at all. No, he wailed. wailed in despair. Despite having been scared of a few seconds earlier, the girls found themselves smiling at the sight of the goblin. He's a goblin statue, Rachel exclaimed, laughing. Only his eyes moved now. They flicked back and forth wildly as the goblin glared first the girls and then at Goldie, who was fluttering behind them. Kirsty noticed her dad's sunglasses on top of the goblin's head. She took a cautious step towards him and another. Then the goblin remained motionless, so that she marched right up to him and carefully took the glasses. I'll have these back now, I think, she said. If I'd known how useful the sunglasses would be, I'd never had been laughing at Dad for wearing them, she told Rachel. Goldie and the girls made their way back to the farmhouse where the pigs were waiting experiently. The mud hole is all yours again, Goldie said to the pigs in her sweet silvery voice. You'll find a new goblin scarecrow nearby, she added, but don't worry, he won't be in any hurry to go back into the mud. The pigs grunted joyfully and started trotting off in search of the cool mud pool. The smallest piglet nuzzled around Kirsty and Rachel's leg before she went. Thank you, he squealed happily. Rachel watched him go. What will happen to the goblin? She asked. He won't have to stay there forever, will he? Goldie's eyes twinkled mischievously. Not forever, she said. He'll get out of the mud as soon as it rains, she smiled cheerfully. Jack Frost won't be pleased for him when he finds out we've got the sunshine feather back, though. We are on the last chapter, Twilight Magic. Now that they were out of danger, Goldie waved the sunshine feather with an expert flourish, and the sun began to set just as it was supposed to. The girls watched as the sky was flooded with orange and pink and a rich deep red. Let's take the sunshine feather back. To doodle, Kirsty said happily, and then we'd better go to bed. Rachel was yawning. It's been another busy day, hasn't it? She smiled. With the sun setting, the warmth was quickly ebbing away, and the girls soon found themselves shivering in their thin t-shirts. Goldie fluttered above them with the sunshine feather tapped with the sunshine feather, tapping it gently to sprinkle a few sunbeams on their bare arms to keep them warm. Oh, that was nice of Goldie, and it's so big compared to her. It was almost dark by the time they got back to Kirsty's garden. They could just about see the silhouette of Doodle perched on the barn roof. Goldie flew up to the cockerel, back his magic feather. As she did so, Doodle came to life. His fiery feathers glowed brilliantly, the colours in the twilight. He looked at Rachel and Kirsty. Will come, he squawked urgently, but before he could say any more, the magic drained away. His colours faded and became a rusty old weather vane once again. Each Each time the girls managed to return one of Doodle's feathers, the cockerel came to life for a few brief moments and squawked a couple of pieces of words. Rachel frowned as she pieced together all the words that Doodle had said to them so far. Beware, Jack Frost will come, she murmured, feeling an icy shiver down her spine, as if Jack Frost was already there. It's a warning, Kirsty. Let's hope he's not coming soon. Goldie looked worried. Take care, she said as she blew them a stream of fairy kisses that sparkled in the darkness sky. I must go back to Fairyland now. Goodbye. Kirsty and Rachel watched Goldie fly away until she was nothing more than a tiny golden speck in the distance. Then, just as they were about to get ready for bed, they heard footsteps and Mr. Tate came out of the house. He was looking around a puzzled expression on his face. Did I just hear a cockerel crowing? He asked. A cockerel at this time of day? Kirsty replied innocently. Mr. Tate frowned. I must be hearing things, he said, turning back to go inside. Good night, girls. Sleep well. Then he glanced up at Doodle as he headed back towards the house. I'm sure that Weathervane had a smaller tail, he muttered, and then shook his head. Seeing things as well. Definitely time to call it a night. Kirsty and Rachel smiled at each other. Only 3 more feathers to find, Kirsty said. I wonder which one will be next. Crystal, Abigail, Pearl and Goldie have got their feathers back. Now it's time for Rachel and Kirsty must help Evie the Mist Fairy. Wow! I read one entire book on my channel. I've never read one full Rainbow Magic book on my channel. Normally when I read a Rainbow Magic book, I normally read like a chapter or maybe just 3 or 4 pages. But I read one whole book. This video is over 35 minutes. I've been doing it for 37 minutes, 56 seconds. Wow, wow, wow. That is really long. So even though no one joined my live stream, I hope you enjoyed me reading Goldie the Sunshine Fairy. And stay tuned for later today because I'll be reading Evie the Mist Fairy. And did you like the colourings in my Goldie the Sunshine Fairy book? They're okay in my honest opinion, but I want to know your opinions. Please comment down below. And thank you for 60 subscribers on Rainbow Magic Book Club. You guys are awesome. Please do not forget to like, comment and subscribe. And remember to be a Rainbow Magic Book Club member. Bye.